If you're like me and you spend too much time online, I'm sure you've seen it everywhere. Just people relying all the time on AI to pretty much do their thinking for them. At Grok, is this true? Being the major calling card for people on X, formerly known as Twitter, to clarify people's other statements and to try and understand if what they're saying is true or not. I work in the tech industry and have for a number of years. Previously to that, 20 years in hospitality. So I'm still pretty fresh in the industry and what it has to offer. And one of those things, of course, is AI. Now, do I use AI? Yes. In fact, I use it every single day for work. How do I use it? I use it to disseminate information from the internet to help me sort out changes and incidents and so forth. And for that, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Am I getting the best usage out of AI? Probably not, but that's beside the point. It helps me in my day-to-day duties. I can use it as a soundboard to ideate these YouTube videos for this channel, other things as well, and I think it's a great and useful tool. But at no stage am I ever going to use it to replace my brain for me. And if you go on social media, you'll see that this is what countless people are doing all over the world. They're using this not to answer complex questions and find the answer. They're using this for day-to-day stuff that they should simply know, be it through school or just knowledge in general from when growing up and maturing as an adult. But this has a really bad side effect. People are simply too lazy to think for themselves. And that, my friends, is a huge problem. If you have any knowledge of human anatomy, especially the brain, you'll know that there's an insult that people like to give to those not so intellectually equipped. As you've probably heard, it's a bit of an insult to call people a smooth brain. Why is that? Because the brain forms more and more ridges the more knowledge you learn, and this is how it stores information, knowledge, and when you learn and grow as a person. Being a smooth brain is essentially an insult saying that you retain no information, you can't learn anything, etc. So obviously, as we grow up from a child through teens to an adult and then beyond, we accumulate all sorts of knowledge and experience all throughout our life. We should be able to answer so many basic questions or be fully equipped to find the answer ourselves. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong, I think AI is incredibly useful in helping find this information, but the problem is, as we all know, AI isn't always correct, and it doesn't always push out information in the way that you think it should. Like it or not, the companies that produce LLMs and other AI tools are generally private companies that are backed by independent backers. Now, I don't want to go tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but we do know that a lot of these people are driven by agendas. What's a really easy way to control a specific agenda? AI. Because you can train AI models to disseminate information in ways that are favorable to your narrative. Now, we've seen this with Grok. There's been a lot of controversy about how Grok itself is being used. A lot of the time it's pro-Elon. Sometimes people say it escapes the leash and goes the other way around. AI is very good at pattern recognition like humans are, and sometimes it very much goes against certain narratives around certain select groups that have a protected status around the world. I'm sure we know who they are. I'm not going to attack those people. I'm not going to decide whether that information is correct or not. That's up to you to decide through your own research and not my opinion. But what I do want to say is that people are losing the skills to research basic information and verify it for themselves. And not just on the internet, but through books and so forth, talking to people, etc. People are using AI to settle their arguments. So no longer are you arguing with a real person, you're getting your points from AI and people are answering with AI. People are losing the ability to debate and argue and come to their own conclusions to present to other people to try and get them to understand their point of view on a subject matter. But what people are using AI very well for is for validating what they already want to believe. Not what's true, what they want to believe. Go and look at all the Iran war stuff at the moment. So many AI images and etc. of US bases being bombed, the US Abraham Lincoln being destroyed, etc. And so many people are going, Grok, is this true? Now, come on, let's be honest here. Whether you support the Iranian invasion or not is beside the point. But if the biggest aircraft carrier from the mightiest military in the entire world got destroyed by Iran, that would be front page news all over the world, not posted on X for people to be unsure whether it's now our image or not. Use our brains a little bit, please. Let's use some common sense. And to that point, people are saying, hey, I'm not noticing so much AI anymore. If that's the fact, you could probably safely assume that AI has simply gotten better, not that its use has been reduced. So what's the point of this video here, and what message am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to get you to understand that AI isn't the real issue here. Even if AI was perfect, this would still be weird in my opinion, because the issue is when people are choosing to use AI. A lot of the times, they're not choosing to use it as the tool to gain leverage in certain tasks and day-to-day duties and other things that they're trying to achieve, because AI has some really great uses for that. They're using it to replace their own thoughts and replace their own thoughts, to replace their ability to form their own thoughts and let AI do the thinking for them. This is not how it's intended to be used. And this is not how you should be using it either. And I get the excuses. It's just a tool, faster than Googling. Not everyone has time to research everything, and people have always relied on external sources. And I understand that, I get that. That's exactly why I leverage AI to use in my day-to-day duties for my work. And I think that those uses are good, and people should be using AI to leverage it for those day-to-day duties, just like they did with plenty of other things in the years. I mean, look at how smartphones replace so many other tools, for instance. Most people have a smartphone these days. You go to third world countries, they can't even afford to feed themselves, but everybody has the latest iPhone somehow. I have no idea how this happens, but it happens. Okay? So even the poorest of people have replaced everything with a smartphone. Again, it's what you use it for. Doom scrolling Instagram and TikTok reels, fun for a little while, but don't spend all your time doing it. You have all the knowledge of the world at your fingertips. That's the opportunity for you to get yourself ahead in life, and that's what you should be using it for. Technology is there as a tool to aid you to get where you want to be. But if you're overusing it and using it for those purposes that I said before and replacing your own brain function, thinking and reasoning, you're going to lose basic judgment skills. You're going to have blind trust in confident sounding answers, because how many times does that happen when people use AI and believe it? We know AI hallucinates. We know that it's not always correct. I've had countless arguments with AI based on things that I know are true, and AI swears black and blue that I'm wrong. We just agree to disagree. I'm sure that in the future that will change, but AI's limit is a limit of human knowledge, not what's beyond that and not what's shared with it. And the other issue is using AI to confirm beliefs instead of challenging them. This is something you should always do. Never take anything at face value if it doesn't sound right to you, no matter who says it. If you feel that it's wrong, you should take the time to challenge it. Now, it might be true or it might not be, but if it doesn't sound right to you, don't accept it at face value, and especially don't do it if AI tells you, because it may not be correct at all whatsoever. And this is the last thing that concerns me about AI and what you should be, in my opinion, most concerned about, and that is people using it to outsource their thinking. Never stop losing the ability to think for yourself. Again, AI is there to assist you, disseminate information, make your thinking, your decision maker faster and more efficient, but you should never, ever let it replace you. Never let it do your thinking for you. You're a human, stay that way. But it's not just information outsourcing and outsourcing your own thinking. It's also judgment outsourcing. Constantly asking yourself in your own mind, is this obviously fake? Does this sound right? And what should I think about this? People are getting AI to make those decisions for them. And that is the scary thing. No longer are many people around the world relying on their own knowledge, experience, and judgment that they've gathered through their years of experience on this world. They're settling on AI to make those decisions for them based on what political and ideological beliefs they align with, not what's right or wrong. But why are people doing this? Why are they letting AI take over their thinking for them? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Thinking takes effort, doesn't it? And AI removes that friction part by doing the thinking for you. We also hate ambiguity and a lack of clarity. AI gets all that information that you've got and it gives you confident answers. But even if it's wrong, it will still be very confident. And we all know when an answer is delivered with confidence, we as humans are just so much more likely to believe it. And it also eliminates a lot of social risk for people. You can just throw your hands up in the air and say, it wasn't me that said it, that came from AI. Now, that is getting a lot of pushback these days, but a lot of people are still using it for that purpose, and a lot of people are accepting of that as an answer, unfortunately. So it reduces the risk of people being wrong publicly and eliminates embarrassment for those people who are unable to handle it emotionally. And of course, it gives you answers really quickly. You can just rapid fire responses at people, no problem, without taking the time to think or even understand what it says. You can just give it to them, and a lot of people are accepting of it, especially if they don't know yet that it's an answer formulated by an AI model. And AI encourages this behavior in a few ways, because it always gives you an answer. It always sounds confident. It doesn't force you to think, because it takes over that function for you, and it rewards you engaging with it. It doesn't necessarily reward how accurate the responses or the information you provide it with are. So the system makes you more reliant on it for an everyday function if you're using it for those purposes, and you just reflect less on whether it's true or not, because it's almost self-serving by giving you exactly what you want or exactly what you think you want. Now, the risk here isn't that AI is sometimes wrong. Now, we know that's a fact, but it's that people stop noticing when something feels wrong. People lose their intuition, their skepticism, and most importantly, their basic reasoning, because AI replaces all of that for them. But for me personally, as I said earlier in the video, AI is incredibly useful, and it can be incredibly rewarding when you use it to help you solve complex problems, disseminate information, and boost your productivity. But you should never ever replace things like your basic judgment, obvious reasoning, and of course, forming your own initial beliefs. So AI is growing in a fast-changing world. And just like the internet before it, this is the worst it's ever going to get. It's only going to get faster, better, more resourceful, and more accessible. And what's the trade-off for this? You're going to get speed and convenience, but if we're not careful, we'll just end up losing independence of thought and over-reliance on a machine. So in closure, AI isn't really making us worse at thinking. It's just making it easier for us not to. Bye for now.